In this video, I'm breaking down the 3 core systems that allow online coaches to scale from 5K to 15K months within their online coaching offer. We're going to cover exactly how to scale your personal brand the right way while being able to avoid all the overly complex information out there that's probably been shoved in your face, and show you a real life example of how simple it is to implement these systems when done the right way. When these 3 systems are put together the right way, it removes the unnecessary friction that allows you to scale. And it also doesn't require hours per day of your time. The majority of this runs all on autopilot while you can focus on coaching your clients. And so hopping right into this, in the first place, I thought, why not, instead of just talking about what to do and the right systems to implement, let me show you a real example of a client that I've implemented this for and give you some background on how he did it and the results he's getting now because of it. And so as we can see, starting off, the first system to implement and the first thing to really build out here is your brand strategy. This is laying the groundwork of the brand that you're going to build. And so in this example, with scaling and working with my client Fetty, we had to look into the 3 core things that make up a brand's strategy. That number 1 is your ICP, your ideal customer profile. In this situation, it was beginners looking to make more money online. We then had to decide what is the best offer to scale. And the reason why this matters is because a lot of people think that they already have a good offer in the first place and that the issue is just their content, or it's just their market, or it's just the algorithm. But you really want to peel back the curtains when you're scaling a coaching business and look at every single facet of where the issue could be coming from. And so in this situation, we had to look at this offer, readjust it to bring in the most cash flow and service our clients in the best way possible. What we ended up going with was a one-on-one and a group info offer. Now, full disclaimer, this isn't the same for everyone. The way you go about this is going to vary based on a few different variables. A few of those are how much time you want to put into coaching, how much you're looking to make with coaching, and then demographics and psychographics of your ICP. For example, what does the average income look like of your ICP? How do the skill levels of different prospects vary? One may be just starting out, one may be further along, or maybe the majority of everyone is just starting out, and what type of service did they need to get the most value out of your coaching? And the next big piece of information here that we had to find out while developing the brand strategy was his brand identity. And so in other words, this is also finding your edge. What makes you stand out, right? So in this situation, it was sharing the transparent journey and wisdom from scaling an online business. Now, this really stands out because a lot of people won't share the transparent journey. They won't show the ups and downs. They won't show what they're actually doing. They won't show their numbers. They won't give intel to the clients they're helping. Most people will only share value or flash lifestyle. And now I'm not saying doing those 2 things are bad, and they can build an audience and bring leads to the door, but simply ending there could build us a very commoditized and basic brand. And so what we want to do is throw in this third aspect to the mix to really take it far and make Fetty stand out. Now that we have our brand strategy built, we have a lot more clarity around the type of content that we're going to create, how we're going to acquire clients, and we won't get burnt out when going into the creative process of starting all this marketing, which takes me to the next system here, which is building your content engine. This is then taking that information and all the details that you've written down about your brand identity, about your strategy, about what makes you unique and your ICP, and turning this into a consistent and effective content strategy so you can distribute content consistently to build an audience and bring leads through the door. Now I'm going to go into what we built out and are actively building out on the short form as well as the long form side. We're doing both to capture the biggest audience we can, as well as nurture and generate high quality leads through our content on different mediums. Starting out with short form content, we knew that we needed a consistent daily series. This is the foundation of content. We needed something where we can consistently build a framework and build a series of content that we can make every single day and post across all platforms. In this situation, we came up with the series Making X by X. This is making a certain amount of money by a certain timeline. Now that we have a consistent daily series that Fetty's filmed multiple times, it's no longer a headache and we don't have to worry about having a post to make every single day because we can always fall back on this daily series. Now this is huge and there's a lot of different ways that you can go about this, and I highly suggest doing it. I don't see enough people do it. But we didn't stop here because we know with content, we need to check off multiple different boxes for levels of awareness and what we show our audience and our leads to build the right trust, shift their beliefs the right way, and build enough authority. And so we need more content than just a series. This is where we built out the pillars of content, right? And so with this, we have broad and relatable content. This looks less specific on value and tactical sides of online business and Amazon FBA and all of that. It's more so relatability stories as an entrepreneur on your journey, and broad content like this, for example, that's going to cast a wide net and still catch the attention of an audience that we want to have. And the number 1 goal being to bring as much people in the door as possible, as well as just have more content to put out. Now, the second type of content is tactical authority. This is more specific value aimed at making Fetty an authority and giving people free advice, free information that they need to start scaling right away without even joining the program. Now, the last one is story and journey. This is mainly consisting of the story and the daily series that we have going out, and it's all the behind the scenes, it's everything going on, and it's all the lessons he's learning and has learned. And that's short form. The main goal here is to build a big audience, lay the foundation of your audience in the first place, cast the wide net, because there's so many people out there scrolling. Just think about how much time the average person spends scrolling social media, short form content specifically, and how many new people they meet and new people they see. Now, with that in mind, if we can engineer the right content to capture capture attention, provide value, get people to trust us, and invest into our brand, we can slowly start to build an audience, and we can speed up that process by throwing an increasing volume into the mix and posting every single day, even multiple times like what we're doing here. Now, of course, we don't just stop at building a big audience. We treat content even just on a short form side like a funnel, where, like I was talking about, we have the tactical authority, we have the story, we have the journey, where we're sending people down a journey just from our short form content in a funnel. Top funnel being the broad content that's just reaching them, getting that impression, driving that curiosity, sending them to more tactical authority content, getting value, they're taking their first steps, they're really building that reciprocity, they're learning about the story, they're learning about the journey, they're feeling like it's relatable, they really resonate with the brand, and with consistency, they're seeing it every single day. Now, getting into the long form side of things, we have two primary goals here. Number one is to nurture. This looks like building trust, an overload of value, but take note, information, not implementation, right? We're giving all the information away for free, because in the info game, what people really want is custom tailored consulting. They want actual help, custom fit into their situation. And so that's what we're selling. That's what a valuable offer is made up of in the info game. So we're giving away the information, which sounds ironic, for free. We're giving them the roadmap, telling them everything about the business model that we can. And then for the serious leads, they come to Fetty for that one-on-one help after being nurtured and pre-sold by all his content. And number two is to entertain. You can think about this the same as broad and relatable content on the short form side. We're casting a wider net, reaching more people, but there's still strategy behind it because we're sharing perspective on the lifestyle, which is building desire, which is huge in the info game. This can be vlogs and sit down talks on perspectives, mindset shifts, and content like this. Now that we've covered the content engine, the last system here to implement, which really brings everything together, make sure leads are actually booking on the calendar and sales are being made, is having a conversion system. And in this situation, there are three main ways that we're driving conversions. Number one being story CTAs. This is posting on the story about the mentorship, sharing case studies, and giving people a CTA to make that next step, to then get into the DMs where the setter finds out about their situation, how serious they are, and books the call. We also have comment and DM CTAs where people can comment on videos or DM them directly, and it follows a similar process where the setter steps in, handles the entire conversation, qualifies them, books the call. Lastly, we have YouTube descriptions. The thing about YouTube and why it's so powerful is that people are spending a lot more time with you. And this isn't just a theory, this is backed by data. Google did a study called the 7-11-4 rule, which states that the average consumer needs to spend about 7 hours consuming your content across 11 different touch points on 4 different platforms before even considering making that purchasing decision, right? And so with short form, we have all of these touch points covered, obviously, right? Also, we have more with long form, but how are we going to get 7 hours of consumed content with 30 to 60 second videos? It's not really possible. It's not really feasible. That's exactly why we throw in 9, 10, even 12-minute videos into the mix. They're spending more time. And that's why we see a lot of conversions come straight from people booking in YouTube descriptions, because they watch these long videos, they spend a lot of time with you, and they want to book that call right away because they trust you a lot more. Now, when it comes to the components of success with your conversion systems in your process of selling and getting these leads to actually buy, having these ways of booking leads and getting them on calls is very important, but there's more to it to actually make this work in the first place. And these components are having a good DM process, having the right questions to ask, answers to give, and overall giving your leads the right experience in the DMs. Same thing with your sales process, right? Same as DM process, but on a sales call, which is even harder to crack. But that's something that we're really going heavy on and cracking with this offer. And of course, having the right content in the first place, right? Because it all goes back to this first step, right? Brand strategy, constructing and designing the right content in the first place, what we're going to do, executing with consistency, having the short form, having the long form, then going to conversion system. The point is that none of this process works if even one system out of the 3 is missing, right? If content engine is missing, but we have brand strategy and conversion system, we have no eyeballs feeding into the funnel. We have no audience being built. Brand strategy is out of the picture, but we have content engine and conversion. We're aimlessly throwing pieces of content at the wall with no strategy and then being curious why it doesn't work, because we didn't work backwards from our offer and from our end goal. If we don't have conversion systems, but we have brand strategy and content engine, we're building an audience, but we're getting nobody on sales calls and we're not actually converting. And another huge component to wrap this up with is a YouTube strategy to actually nurture. The reason that I wanted to put that there is because a lot of people completely miss out on YouTube, disregard it, and don't do YouTube. And it's a huge reason why they don't have nurtured and high quality leads. Such a huge part of success within your sales and conversion system process. But that wraps up this video. I hope you got some value, because this is the exact same process that I've been using to help Fetty scale from $0 in info to 5, 10, and in the future, 15K months. And so if you are a coach, consultant, or info seller, and you want to apply to see if my team and I could step in and implement these systems for you to scale your personal brand and scale your offer, I'll leave a link down below where you can book a call to speak directly with me one-on-one to see if that's a good fit. And make sure to like, subscribe, comment what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.